Cheryl, Shoemaker. And what is so astounding to me is that you have been with us here at Maria in the DLC for 37 years. And you look like you're 21.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I'm going to pretend that I'm applying for a nursing position in the DLC. And I'm going to ask you questions of like, what kind of background should I have, and how do I apply? And you can just give me your experience in all of that.
Well, I think personally, to work, just to make sure that you have like a medical background. I mean, a lot of it's just knowing what you went through, even through high school, how to take care of your hygiene and how you can take care of people, that things that you would normally do for yourself, you're going to do for the sisters that are here. And basically, it's getting them prepared for the day and ready and for their breakfast and ready to go to their appointments, and helping them to be mobile, and making sure to give them their assistive devices and things that they might need if they wear a brace or if they need a walker or a cane.
How did you happen to come to work here for 37 years?
Well, I had trained years ago. I was a medical assistant. I worked for a doctor. We were working 70 hours a week, and by the time I would get home late at night, sometimes past midnight. By the time I'd get up in the morning, it was time to go to work again. So I would go there and pull charts and do insurance, and then I'd assist the doctor throughout the day. I worked in Hudson at the time, and there were two other physicians that they would take a break during the flu and cold season. So we had their patients plus our patients. So we seen a multitude. We could see like 80-some patients in a day. That's how many we were seeing. So that's why we would take and work till like 11:30 at night, and by the time I'd get home. So it was kind of getting a little bit of a burnout and stress on the marriage. And so I had a friend that her husband played baseball, and my husband was a coach, and she and I had worked together in a restaurant years ago, and she says, Cheryl, she says, come on over here where I work, because she worked as an assistant here. And so I took her at her word, and I told the doctor I had to go to typewriter sales, and I had to pick up, to get for letterheads, and I had to pick up some immunizations at the health department, and I swung over here, and I met Sister Omedio. That time was Sister Mary, she's changed her name to Mary Singer now.
Yes.
And I brought my resume in, and she interviewed me, and she gave me the job. So,
Oh my!
But I didn't start full time right at first. I told her I really wanted full time, but at that time I did part time, worked afternoons, and it wasn't even within the month or two she hired me full time.
Oh,
So,
I bet you were happy.
oh gosh, I was happy.
And your family was happy.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Do you have grown children at this point?
No, at that time we were just married, and I hadn't had children yet.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
But you do now?
Oh yeah, I've got two kids. One was born in 1981, and he's 36 years of age. The other one is, let's see, he's like 32, 33, something like that. He's born in 84, so yeah, 33 probably.
Well, there were probably many sisters here when you came that were still wearing the habit, correct?
Oh yes.
Probably the majority.
A majority, yes. We carried pins on us. You had to have straight pins for the cuffs.
Yes.
And then they wore the skull cap and
Yes.
yeah.
The
And-
nightcap or
Oh, and the nightcap, and
yeah.
if that nightcap didn't come back from the laundry, we put towels on their heads sometimes, you know, because they wanted to keep their heads covered.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Had you ever known sisters before this point in your life?
Not really. I mean, when I was younger, I can remember living in Toledo, there were a group or an order of sisters. And sometimes they would come over and have a meal with us at the school we were at. But I didn't really know much about them because I was really young at the time. I was in kindergarten at the time.
Who are some of the sisters who are now deceased that you remember that you were
Yeah,
worked with?
Marie Urban was the administrator. Claire O'Connor was her helper. I don't think Marie Urban finished her term at the time, and Claire had to pick up. And after them, I think secretary was Georgianne Novak. Oh, Sister Georgianne, such a sweet sister, very good. And then we had Mary Treese Foote, I believe, that was the pharmacist
Yes.
at the time. And she had her assistant, Dennis, Sister Dennis.
Yes.
And yes, oh gosh. And there was Sister Catherine Henry. She ran the maintenance department.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember.
It was sisters who were ahead of every
Oh,
department.
yeah,
I
there
know.
was at the time I came. And oh gosh, you couldn't have asked for a better place to work. Everybody was so happy, and I just enjoyed coming to work it just was a thrill, you know, to come
That's
to work.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that was before the South, 2 South and 3 South
Yeah.
were built. So you were in what we would call the old Maria.
We called it Maria. Yeah,
Yes.
it was not Adrian Dominican Life Center at the time. It was Maria.
And those rooms were connected by a bathroom, correct?
Right.
And
they
they were
had,
relatively small.
yeah, very
Really?
small. They had shared bathrooms. Yeah.
Were there 6 sisters still here in Roncalli? Or was it more
They
administration?
had sisters here, but I don't remember that they were ill or anything. I think this was like apartments to them, or that I could remember. Also around the corner, which is now the rehab department, was the library. That used to be a library there. Very nice, wonderful library. Sister, I'm trying to think, Jerome?
Yes.
She ran the library.
I'm sure she did.
Oh, yeah. Very sweet sister. Had her as a patient also.
Yeah. She was a Latin professor at
Was
Siena.
she?
Yes, yes,
Oh, goodness.
yes.
And then we had Sister Pauline, I think ran the rehab.
Pauline Richter.
Yeah, and, oh, gosh.
Did they serve? There wasn't a dining room at the time, was there? They would bring trays.
They
to,
brought trays,
to
yeah.
all the rooms. No solariums.
No, and at that time, we were expected to have everybody up for the communion, you know, before breakfast. A lot of them would not eat until they had their communion, and then things kind of changed after that.
Right. Yeah. Well, you certainly have spanned a lot of our history and the changes on campus
Oh, yeah.
too, and changes in administration. Was Sister Kathy Olds?
Kathy Olds,
when
she
you
became
when you
an-
came. No, it was Maria.
was Marie Urban first. Yeah, Kathy Olds came. I'm thinking it was her, then Claire O'Connor, then probably Kathy Olds.
And wasn't there a lay administrator a short time?
Well, I remember Marstella. She
No,
also was an administrator
Yeah.
while I was here, I think back in the 80s. And
Yeah, this was in the 80s.
there was was it Karen Fisk?
Yes, she was human resources, so
Okay,
that's
I
probably
remember
how you
her.
got to know her. Yes. So where are you ministering today? In what part of the
I'm
facility?
Right now, I'm over on 3 Maria at this time. There's times like if they need me, they'll pull me over to the south side. And that. But when I first started, I started on second shift. and I was a full-time float. So I was everybody's relief. When somebody would have a day off, I would work that floor. But I mean, I was full-time, but I, didn't have my own floor.
You really got to know the
And
sisters.
yeah. And when I finally got from second shift, when she gave me the full-time position, I went to day shift. And from day shift, that's when I was here probably 3 years, close to 3 years, when I got pregnant for my first child. And Sister Emilio, then she had introduced Sister Monica Stankus, and she was going to take over. And I think at that time, that's when I had my first child, was during the transition of those two. And I remember after Sister Monica was Sister Pat. Sister Pat was also director of nurses then.
I'm sure it's a thrill to see Sister Monica Stankus now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't her hair completely white?
I think so.
Yes.
She's got a little bit of a color through it, but it's practically all white.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Amazing.
Just
Just
lovely
amazing.
lady.
Yes.
I love her. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you were fortunate to have those women in your life.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
very much so.
If you could change anything in the DLC now, Maria specifically, what would you suggest?
Oh gosh, I don't know what I could say. I mean, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would change anything
You
really.
don't see a need for.
No,
Yeah.
but everything has been for a purpose, and I know that people have gotten older. It's gotten the transition. It's gotten harder for the sisters,
Yes.
to keep ahead of the departments. But it was much more personable when the sisters ran it. Yes.
When you first came, were there many sisters who were experiencing memory loss?
When I first came, oh yeah, there was a mix. There was a big mix of types of patients, the diseases. I'd say cancer, heart was, and then
Memory.
the dementia. Those were like the top three, I would say.
Now we have a specific sacred place for the sisters with memory loss.
Right.
But at that time, did they have a specific?
Not
No,
at the time
they were
when
interspersed.
we had to keep an eye on those that wandered, besides taking care of the ones that were total care, besides taking care of the terminal care. I mean, we had a mix, and it was very difficult, because once you shut the doors to go in to give care to a sister at night or during the daytime, you had to be responsible for those that were lost and confused, and sometimes that was very difficult.
And we didn't have the phone system
No,
like we have today.
like you
where
do
can
today.
Make
Yeah.
the announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nor computers. In fact, the sisters didn't even have phones
Right.
or televisions. Right.
So I think the Veritas was a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that I would not change.
No, not at all. Not at all. It is amazing. So many of our, well, as you know, how bright our sisters are and how well educated they are. Has that ever been difficult for the staff?
With the sisters?
Yes.
Not really. The sisters understand pretty much what's going on, and they watch over us just as much as we watch over them, and they see things that are going on with us, and they're right there to take care of us. It's like kind of a family.
Oh,
We take care of each other. Right?
Oh, that's beautiful.
So, yeah.
Well, is there? Now I'm a new employee, so this is the last question.
Okay.
What do you love about working here on campus?
Oh, I do like it so much, and I love taking care of the sisters. They make you feel very welcomed. They're always there to pray for you, and it holds you up throughout your day. It's nice to see that when you've taken care of them, the smile on their face, and you know that you've accomplished something, and they're very much appreciative of everything that you do.
They're full of gratitude.
Oh, they're full of gratitude, yes.
And the ones who aren't are it's because of medication or something.
Something, or
Yeah.
or it could be the memory,
Would you agree with this? When you've met one Adrian Dominican, you've met one Adrian Dominican.
I
We're
think
not carbon copies. is
No,
what
you're not. No, you'd have to come and meet them all
Yes. To really understand.
to really
yes.
understand.
Well, let me take this opportunity to thank you,
Thank
Cheryl,
you.
for your incredible
Aw.
service. I mean, you carry the history of Maria with you, and you continue to give smiles and comfort and joy to those, not only your co-workers, but also to the sisters. I know they love you. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.